Figuring out what to do is hard, but figuring out what not to do is much easier. Charlie Munger often talks about the idea of inversion. Instead of asking how to succeed, ask what leads to failure and then do the opposite. That's exactly what we will do in this video. I will show you how to destroy your agency in 4 simple steps so you can do the exact opposite and build a successful agency. My name is Jonas. I'm running an agency myself and I also operate a consulting company where we currently work with 200 plus agencies. So let's dive into it. So step number 1 to completely destroy your agency is to sell services and become a service provider and expert. So become a service provider, become good at AI, automation, marketing, or web design, and sell your expertise as a service. Charge hourly and position yourself as a service provider. Showcase the projects you have worked on and what you do. This is step number 1 to completely destroy your agency and have the worst offer possible. The problem is, if you position yourself as a service provider, you only end up competing on price and experience. You are the product, and the only reason why they choose you is because you either have the lowest price point or you have the most experience. Especially when starting out, you don't have experience, you don't want to be cheap, and this is the reason why everybody ends up working for free and not being able to sign clients. So what is the fix here? The fix, so the opposite, the inversion, would be to identify a series of problems for a specific niche. So instead of offering random services, we want to identify the main and the follow-up problems that those companies face so that we have a unique chain, step-by-step series of problems. For example, the first problem most companies face could be get more leads. The next step is qualify the leads, book the appointments, connect the employee, send the documents, send the invoice, and collect the review. Right? So we want to identify the step-by-step chain of problems that those companies face so that we focus on problems nobody else focuses on and we actually solve what actually is the problem for these companies. In the next step, you want to identify how this chain can be solved by a system, so by a repeatable workflow or system, which you set up once and sell over and over again. In this case, the first problem, so getting more leads, can be solved by running Facebook ads. The next problem can be solved by having an AI bot, the next one as well. Next one can be solved with an automation, a document automation, invoice, and review automation. So you just want to look at each problem and identify how can this problem be solved separately so that you have one chain of solutions which can then be packaged up into your own system, right? It does not always have to be systems. So step number 2 to 7 are systems, so things which you can set up once and sell over and over again. But you can also include services like, for example, Facebook ads. The whole point here is to have a repeatable workflow, so something you can repeat for your client in order to solve a chain of problems with. So at this point, you are in a really good position because now you have one system which solves a unique chain of problems for these companies without competing on price and experience anymore. The next step is to now package everything into a system, because right now you still compete with everybody else because you provide multiple services. So the first thing you want to do is you want to give it a name so it actually looks like your own product. For example, the HVAC engine if you work inside the HVAC niche. The next step is to frame the offer in a way that people see what they get rid of, and we connect everything to the system name so people understand these results are only possible with the HVAC engine, not with any other service or like any other AI agency out there. For example, we help HVAC companies to get an extra 1 job per month while increasing their lead quality by 29% using our HVAC engine. So we want to mention what I get rid of, and we want to connect everything to the system name so people understand these results are only possible with the HVAC engine. And since you are the only one solving these problems, it's true. And since you are the only one having the HVAC engine, there is no choice than to choose you if they actually want to have these results. The last step is now to break everything down in 3 simple steps so people understand how your system operates without talking too much about the backend. For example, in the first step, our engine provides you with an abundance of leads which are qualified and booked into your calendar. In the next step, it connects the right employee, sends the documents in invoices after the job is done, and sort of all, it collects a 5-star review afterwards to build up your social proof. So here we just break down what the system does on each step without talking about the services and the backend, so people see how it operates without explaining too much about what we do. And now you have a system which solves a unique chain of problems. So you're not competing with anybody anymore, and you can charge premium prices and get clients much easier because people are actually interested in what the HVAC engine is. Step number 2 to completely destroy your agency is to do random outreach and see what sticks and works. So if you want to destroy your agency, then try everything, use random scripts, don't track your metrics and channels, have the mindset of let me try stuff and find something that works. What is the fix? So what is the inversion? The inversion and the right path to follow would be the following steps. First of all, identify which steps a person has to take in order to book a call with you and become a client. So you want to look at each step that somebody needs to take to basically become a client. For example, the first step is to see your message. The second step is to look at your profile. The third step is to reply to your message. The fourth step is to basically watch the video which you sent to them. The next step is to believe the social proof. The next step is to basically ask a question. The next step is to basically ask for the booking link. And the last step is to book a call. Right? This is just a random example, but we need to identify what are the steps that a person has to take in order to become a client or in order to book a call. In the next step, you want to identify which stimuli are needed to get them take these actions. Because on a psychological level, we always need to expose a human to something in order to get them to take an action. So if we know exactly what a chain of action is, so which actions a person needs to take in order to book a call or become a client, we can just reverse these actions and find out which stimuli, so which things we have to expose the human to in order to get them to do this action. Right? For example, in order to get them to see the message, we need to have a first message. Right? We need to have a really, really great and curiosity-driven first message, which then triggers them to see the message, and so on. Okay. So in the next step, you want to identify which stimuli, so which things do you have to put in place in order to get them to focus on basically following this chain of action. The next step is to build the stimuli based on your niche. So after you know exactly these are the stimuli that I need to expose somebody to in order to get them to basically book a call with you, we need to just build a stimuli based on your niche. So what I mean here is you need to basically look at the niche and then you need to craft the stimuli, because every niche has different latent conditions. So every niche have different beliefs and mindset, which we need to basically use in order to build the stimuli. Okay, so if your niche is, for example, let's say like real estate, the real estate niche is a really, really old and professional niche. So in order to talk to these people, you have to be like authoritative and you need to have like a professional tone. Right? If you work with agencies like I do, you have to have a really, really like chill tone, because agency owners are usually a bit younger and it works better if you talk to them with like a chill tone and like style. Right. So the next step, basically build the stimuli. So build the calendar link, the script, the video, the scripts, and everything else based on your niche, and use the latent conditions and the emotions that they rely on, basically. In the next step, you want to define the KPIs you're looking for to achieve. Okay. So these are all the things you do before even starting the outreach, right? So you want to define what are the KPIs, so the key performance indicators, so the numbers you want to achieve in order to say, hey, the system works and the system can be scaled, right? So what you want to do here is you want to basically set a couple of numbers. The first number is the appointment booking rate. So you want to define what is the appointment booking rate I need to achieve to say with certainty that the acquisition system I've built actually gets me to certain results, right? You have to be realistic here. For most niches, for most channels, like it depends completely on the channel, niche, and everything you target. But for most channels, it's something between like 1% and 2% booking rate, right? So for all the people you contact, 1 or 2% should end up booking a call with you. This depends on the channel, so make sure to define a KPI which makes sense for the channel that you use. And do not only set a KPI for the booking rate, but also a KPI for how many people accept your connection, how many people see your message, and so on. So that you have basically multiple numbers, which are the goal state, the numbers you want to achieve to know with certainty what I've built actually works. After you've done these 4 things, it's all about running the system, so running the acquisition and starting the outreach. Okay, so you want to run the system, so follow exactly what you have built here, follow the exact workflow, change nothing about the stimuli or the input, and follow it for 2 to 4 weeks without changing anything, and just track the metrics. Okay, so you want to basically use the stimuli that you have built and expose them to the people. So basically connect with, let's say, 20 people a day, send them the first script, wait until they reply, send them the video, and so on. Right? So basically just follow the process that you have mapped out in these 2 steps here. Track all the metrics. Do not change anything about it, even if you know there are like 0 replies, nothing works. Keep doing it for 2 to 4 weeks. And after this, look at the metrics and see if they are out of KPI or not. Okay, so after you've run it for like 2 to 4 weeks, analyze the metrics, define the bottleneck, and change one thing at a time. So afterwards, just look at the numbers that you have actually achieved. So the message seen rate, connection acceptance rate, appointment booking rate, and compare them to the KPIs that you have set. If they are below the KPIs, then you need to change something to make sure they become into KPI, right? If they are in KPI, you can just move on and go on with like the next step, right? If the metrics are not in KPI, so if, for example, you have set a KPI of 5% booking rate and you only achieved a 1% booking rate, it's all about defining what the bottleneck is. So then you want to look at all the metrics. So you want to look at each step of the process, and you want to define where exactly does the system break. Is it that not enough people see the message, not enough people reply, not enough people book, whatever. So you want to just compare the metrics that you have tracked on each stage with the metrics you wanted to achieve, see which numbers out of KPI, and focus on solving the first one in the process, not the last one, because if you solve the first one, it will basically have an impact on all of the numbers behind it. Okay. So you want to define the bottleneck and you want to change one thing at a time. So you want to change the first number on the left side of the funnel, basically, because this one has the biggest impact on the rest, right? Just one thing at a time. Do not change the booking link, the script, and the video. Just change one thing. Then you run the test again with the same things. The only thing you change is the one stimuli, right? So the one thing you fix, basically. You run the test again. You do the same thing. And hopefully now the system performs within KPI and you have a 2% or 5% booking rate. After you have done this, we can then move on to the next step, which is basically hiring setters. So basically getting people to follow the same process with more volume so that you can scale, right? And this also leads me to step number 3 on how to destroy your agency, which is basically hire setters and closers immediately. So hire setters and closers as soon as you can, let them do random outreach and focus on volume and let the closers do their thing, right? So the next step on how to completely destroy your agency is connected with the last step, right? So try everything, use random scripts, and then also hire people who also do everything and try everything. And you basically just let them do their thing and let them do random outreach and just focus on volume, because if you send 10K messages, probably 5 of them will book, right? That's the next step on how to destroy your agency. The inversion of it would be to basically do not hire setters until you have a proven acquisition system they can blindly follow. Okay. And don't hire closers until you don't have capacity in your own calendar anymore. So if you follow these steps, you are in a really good position because now you have an acquisition system, so a proven process you can follow to book a certain amount of calls out of a certain amount of inputs. The next right step would be to, first of all, build the acquisition and sales systems, like I showed you above, test it and adapt it so that you know the system is running within KPI and you're getting at least a 2 or 5% booking rate. Then templamize it and make SOPs out of it. So everything you have built, all the stimuli, all the workflows, put it into an SOP hub so everybody can blindly follow it to get the same outputs. And then hire setters to basically increase the volume. Okay, not the other way around. The other way around would be the inversion, which would completely kill your agency, which would all be about hiring people as soon as you can to just focus on volume and let them do their thing. All right. So these are the 4 steps to hire setters and scale organically in a really, really healthy way without destroying your agency, right? Because otherwise you just scale problems. Volume can't fix something that isn't there. So if you just hire setters to let them do their thing and let them follow random scripts, you just scale problems. They cannot scale something that isn't even there. If there is no system, no process they follow, they just follow a random one that won't work, right? A 0.5% booking rate will stay it even with volume. Okay. Same with closers. Don't hire before you have a proven sales process they can follow and you have at least 5 to 10 calls per day. Even if they follow the same process, so even if you have a sales process which they can blindly follow, they will close less because they are not the founder and they don't have that much conviction into the product and system than you have. Okay. So closers are the last kind of people you should hire, right? Because they will always close less than you do. Only hire them if you have more than 5 to 10 calls a day and you can actually not take the calls anymore. Right? I know it's painful, but do the calls yourself, optimize the process, and make sure you close at least 20, 30, 40% of all calls, and you have a repeatable process they can then follow, and you have more than enough calls so that you can actually not handle the calls anymore. And lastly, step number 4 to completely destroy your agency is to do free work and offer a refund guarantee. So if you want to destroy your agency, do the following. Work for free to get results and proof. Keep offering a refund guarantee to get people on board and rely on working with so many people that your proof is undeniable. The inversion, so the fix, would be to do not work for free, basically, right? And the cool thing is you don't even have to when you have a system and you followed the steps above. So if you followed all of these steps here, you don't even have to work for free anymore because now you have a system and there's nobody who can compete with you, right? So what I recommend you to do is to have a 3-step pricing structure. Instead of working for free, we can still have a really, really good pricing structure, which enables you to close everybody while still getting paid for it. So the first option you should have, this is the main option you should show them, is a monthly retainer. So something they pay you every single month for getting the system or getting your service, right? For example, 2K per month. You basically want to stay here and you want to keep objection handling until they either don't have the funds or they basically bought, right? So the only case you move on to the next option is if they actually don't have the money or they are so scared to invest that you cannot get them on board. If that is the case, only then you move on to the second option and you tell them, no worries at all. What we could do instead is to get you started for 1K a month, but then you also have to pay 100 per appointment booked. Okay, so with the second option, it's basically less expensive, so more attractive, but they also pay for all the results the system delivers. Right, for example, 100 per booked appointment if we actually help them with appointment booking like we do with this example. At this stage, most people say yes, because now it's much more attractive compared to the first option. If they keep saying no, and this is actually the worst case, so if they keep saying no and they are about to hop off the call, only then you want to show them the third option, which is 0 per month plus a super high performance fee, for example, a profit share based on the money that you make them. The only goal you have is to basically sign as many people as possible on the first option. If they keep saying no on the second option, if they are about to hop off the call, close everybody on the last option. Because if you close them on the last option, you can still convert them into the retainer because the 20% profit share should become more expensive than the 2K per month after some time, right? Again, you only want to show them the first option if they ask for the price. If they say no, you move to the next one. Worst case, the last one. The goal is to close as many people as possible on the first option. Worst case, onto the last one, which is a no-brainer. So you will be able to close basically everybody on the last option because it's a no-brainer. The cool thing is you can achieve an 80+% closing rate with this structure and still be able to turn all of them into the original retainer because the other options should become more expensive with time, right? That's a really, really cool thing. For the guarantee, never offer like a money back guarantee. Always go for a pay until results guarantee, okay? And how I would handle this is the following. First of all, calculate what they pay you within 3 months. So 3 months should be the normal contract duration, right? And we need to find out how much money do they pay us within this time frame. For example, they pay you 2K per month, so they pay you 6K within 3 months. The next step is to calculate how many new clients they actually need to make more money than that, because we only need to guarantee them that they make more money than they pay us in order to make it a really, really good and no-brainer offer. So we need to calculate how many new clients do they actually need to make more than that. Let's say they charge 1.5K per month or 1.5K for whatever they offer. And since we charge 6K within 3 months, they need 5 clients to basically make 7.5K, which is more money than they paid us. Okay, so they need at least 5 clients to make more money and to make it like a no-brainer offer because then they make more money than they pay us, logically. Next step is to calculate how many appointments they need in order to sign X clients. So in this case, X means 5, and we just need to calculate how many appointments do they need to sign 1 client. For example, they need, let's say like, 5 appointments to sign 1 client. So they need 25 appointments in order to sign basically 5 clients, right? So now we know if we guarantee them 25 appointments, there is no way for them to say no, because it means that they at least close 5 clients, which will end up paying 1.5K, which will end up making them 7.5K. And since we only charge 6K, it's a no-brainer. They will make more money than they pay us. All right. The last step is to guarantee them X. So X in this case is the amount of appointments they need to sign this amount of clients. X plus 5 within 3 months, because we want to give them a safety net of 5 appointments so that there is actually no way of losing. Right? In this case, let's say like 30 or like 35 appointments you guarantee them. And now you know exactly how many appointments you need to guarantee them within 3 months in order to make them more money. Right? And now you basically guarantee them to make more money with your offer than they pay you. So it's a no-brainer. Right? They cannot lose money and you can't either, because you don't refund them, but you just keep working for free until you have achieved these results in the worst case. Right? So in the best case, they basically, get 50 appointments within 3 months. They sign 10K worth of clients and they make more money. Worst case, they basically only get 25 appointments, since you guarantee them 30 appointments or 35 appointments, you just keep working for free until they achieve this amount of appointments, which will be just another, I don't know, 20 days or like 1 month of working for free. And you keep the money they already paid you. So there's no way of losing money, and there is no way for them to lose money because they just get your service for free otherwise until you achieve the number, while you keep the money and while they know they will get this amount of appointments so they can make more money with it, right? Also, always make sure to make the guarantee for 3 months because it gives you more time to achieve the results. Especially if you run Facebook ads or if you do some kind of like marketing or lead generation, it takes time for the results to show up. So always make the guarantee for 3 months, guarantee a higher number for 3 months using this framework, so that you have basically more time to achieve the result. So these are the 4 steps on how to basically destroy your agency, right? And if you basically invert them, this is what to do to build a really good offer, to build a working acquisition system which books you between like 2 and 5 calls every single day, to scale and basically scale this agency to like 20, 50, 100K per month. And lastly, to frame and how to offer it in a way that you make a lot of money while getting a ton of clients. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are an agency owner making less than 20K per month, feel free to check out the link below this video because right now we work with more than 200 agencies and basically help them sign their first clients and scale from there. So if you're interested in working with me, check out the link below. We have a really, really great guarantee as well, which makes sure that you cannot lose money. And yeah, just watch the video, book a call with my team, and I would say, see you soon.